A General Dictionary of the English Language. By Samuel Johnson. Master of Arts. First published in 1755, in 2 volumes. Letter A. From abatement in law to abductor. Abatement. In law. The act of the abater. As, the abatement of the heir, into the land, before he hath agreed with the lord. The affection, or passion of the thing abated. As, abatement of the writ. John Cowell. Abatement. With heralds. Is an accidental mark, which being added to a coat of arms, the dignity of it is abased. By reason of some stain, or dishonorable quality of the bearer. Dictionary. Abater. Noun substantive. The agent, or cause by which an abatement is procured. Abaters of acrimony, or sharpness. Expressed oils of ripe vegetables. And all preparations of such, as of almonds, pistachios, and other nuts. John Arbuthnot, on diet. Abater. Noun substantive. A law term. One who intrudes into houses or land that is void by the death of the former possessor, as yet not entered upon or taken up by his heir. Dictionary. Abitude. Noun substantive. Old records. Anything diminished. Nathan Bailey. Abature. Noun substantive. A hunting term. Those sprigs of grass which are thrown down by a stag in his passing by. Dictionary. Noun substantive. The yarn on a weaver's warp. A term among clothiers. Ephraim Chambers. Abba. Noun substantive. Hebrew, ab. A Syriac word, which signifies father. Abbacy. Noun substantive. Latin, abbatia. The rights or privileges of an abbot. See abbey. According to Fellinus, an abbacy is the dignity itself. Since an abbot is a term or word of dignity and not of office. And, therefore, even a secular person who has the care of souls is sometimes, in the canon law, also styled an abbot. John Ailiffe's Paragon Juris Canonici. Abbess. Noun substantive. Latin, abbatissa. From whence the Saxon abbudis. Then probably abbotess. And by contraction abbess in French, and abbess in English. The superior, or governess of a nunnery, or monastery of women. They fled into this abbey, whither we pursued them. And here the abbess shuts the gate on us, and will not suffer us to fetch him out. William Shakespeare, The Comedy of Errors. I have a sister, Abbess in Terceras, who lost her lover on her bridal day. John Dryden, Don Sebastian. Constantia's heart was so elevated with the discourse of Father Francis that the very next day she entered upon her vow. As soon as the solemnities of her reception were over, we retired, as it is usual, with the abbess into her own apartment. Joseph Addison, The Spectator, No. 164. Abbey. Or abbey. Noun substantive. Latin, abbatia. From whence, probably first abbacy. Which see. A monastery of religious persons, whether men or women. Distinguished from religious houses of other denominations by larger privileges. See abbot. With easy roads, he came to Leicester. Lodged in the abbey, where the Reverend Abbot, with all his convent, honorably received him. William Shakespeare, King Henry VIII. Abbey lubber. Noun substantive. See lubber. A slothful loiterer, in a religious house. Under pretense of retirement and austerity. This is no Father Dominic, no huge overgrown abbey lubber. This is but a diminutive sucking friar. John Dryden, Spanish friar. Abbot. Noun substantive. In the Lower Latin abbas. From ab, father. Which sense was implied. So that the abbots were called patres. And abbesses matris monasterii. Thus, Fortunatus to the abbot paternus. Nominis officium jur, patern, juris. The chief of a convent, or fellowship of canons. Of these, some in England were mitred, some not. Those that were mitred were exempted from the jurisdiction of the diocesan. Having in themselves episcopal authority within their precincts, and being also lords of parliament. The other sort were subject to the diocesan in all spiritual government. John Cowell. See Abbey. Abbey. See Abbey. Abbotship. Noun substantive. The state or privilege of an abbot. Dictionary. To abbreviate. Verb active. Latin, abbreviare. 1. To shorten by contraction of parts, without loss of the main substance. It is one thing to abbreviate by contracting, another by cutting off. Francis Bacon, Essay 26. The only invention of late years, which hath any way contributed towards politeness in discourse, is that of abbreviating, or reducing words of many syllables into one, by lopping off the rest. Jonathan Swift's Introduction to Genteel Conversation. 2. To shorten, to cut short. Against this opinion, we may very well set the length of their days before the flood, which were abbreviated after, and in half this space, contracted into hundreds and threescores. Sir Thomas Browne's Vulgar Errors, Book 6, Chapter 6. Abbreviation. Noun substantive. 1. The act of abbreviating. 2. The means used to abbreviate. As characters signifying whole words. Such is the propriety and energy of expression in them all, that they never can be changed, but to disadvantage. Except in the circumstance of using abbreviations. Jonathan Swift's Introduction to Genteel Conversation. Abbreviator. Noun substantive. Abbreviateur, French. One who abbreviates or abridges. Abbreviature. Noun substantive. Abbreviatura, Latin. 1. A mark used for the sake of shortening. 2. A compendium or abridgment. He is a good man, who grieves rather for him that injures him than for his own suffering, who prays for him that wrongs him, forgiving all his faults, who sooner shews mercy than anger, who offers violence to his appetite, in all things endeavoring to subdue the flesh to the spirit. This is an excellent abbreviature of the whole duty of a Christian. Jeremy Taylor's Guide to Devotion. Abreuvoir. In French, a watering place. This word is derived by Menage, not much acquainted with the Teutonic dialects, from adbeber for adbeber. But more probably, it comes from the same root with brew. See brew. It signifies, among masons, the joint, or juncture of two stones, or the interstice between two stones, to be filled up with mortar. Dictionary. A, B, C. 1. Is taken for the alphabet. As, he has not learned his A, B, C. 2. Sometimes for the little book by which the elements of reading are taught. To abdicate. Verb active. Latin, abdico. To give up right, to resign, to lay down an office. Old Saturn, here, with upcast eyes, beheld his abdicated skies. Joseph Addison. Abdication. Noun substantive. Abdicatio, Latin. The act of abdicating, resignation, quitting an office. By one's own proper act, before the usual or stated expiration. neither doth it appear how a prince's abdication can make any other sort of vacancy in the throne than would be caused by his death, since he cannot abdicate for his children otherwise than by his own consent in form to a bill from the two houses. Jonathan Swift, on the Sentiments of a Church of England Man. Abdicative. Adjective. That which causes or implies an abdication. Dictionary. Abdative. Adjective. From abdo, to hide. That which has the power or quality of hiding. Dictionary. Abdomen. Noun substantive. Latin, from abdo, to hide. A cavity commonly called the lower venter or belly. It contains the stomach, guts, liver, spleen, bladder, and is within lined with a membrane called the peritoneum. The lower part is called the hypogastrium. The foremost part is divided into the epigastrium, the right and left hypochondria, and the navel. It is bounded above by the cartilago ensiformis and the diaphragm, sideways by the short or lower ribs, and behind by the vertebrae of the loins, the bones of the coccyx, that of the pubes, and os sacrum. It is covered with several muscles, from whose alternate relaxations and contractions in respiration, digestion is forwarded, and the due motion of all the parts therein contained promoted, both for secretion and expulsion. John Quincy. The abdomen consists, moreover, of parts containing and contained. Richard Wiseman's Surgery. Abdominal. Adjective. Relating to the abdomen. Abdominis. Adjective. Relating to the abdomen. To abduce. Verb active. Latin, abduco. To draw to a different part, to withdraw one part from another. A word chiefly used in physics or science. And if we abduce the eye unto either corner, the object will not duplicate. For, in that position, the axis of the cones remain in the same plane, as is demonstrated in the optics delivered by Galen. Sir Thomas Browne's Vulgar Errors, Book 3, Chapter 20. Abducent. Adjective. Muscles abducent are those which serve to open or pull back divers parts of the body, their opposites being called adducent. Dictionary. Abduction. Noun substantive. Abductio, Latin. 1. The act of drawing apart or withdrawing one part from another. 2. A particular form of argument. Abductor. Noun substantive. Abductor, Latin. The name given by anatomists to the muscles, which serve to draw back the several members. In pursuance of this theory, he supposed the constrictors of the eyelids must be strengthened in the supercilious. The abductors in drunkards and contemplative men, who have the same steady and grave motion of the eye. John Arbuthnot and Alexander Popes. Martinus Scriblerus. Next page begins with Abecedarian. Original source text is in the public domain. This audio recording, including AI-assisted narration, restoration, and editorial structure, is copyrighted 2026 by Muse of Folios. All rights reserved. Abatement. 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 Abater. 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 Abitude. 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 Abature. 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 Ab. 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 Abba. 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 Abbacy. 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 Abyss. 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 Abbey or Abbey. Abbey or Abbey. Abbey or Abbey. Abbey-lubber. 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 Abbot. 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 Abbotship. 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 To abbreviate. To abbreviate. To abbreviate. Abbreviation. 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 Abbreviator. 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 Abbreviature. 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 Abreuvoir. 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 A, B, C. To abdicate. To abdicate. To abdicate. Abdication. 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 Abdicative. 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 Abditive. 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 Abdomen. 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 Abdominal. 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 Abdominis. 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 To abduce. To abduce. To abduce. Abducent. 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 Abduction. 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 Abductor. Abductor. Abductor.